Hello friends, my name is Koolio and welcome back to the channel. Today guys, we're talking more about Dawn of Isles, specifically about combat as well as the talent system in the game. Now I've had a lot of you guys ask me and request and talk a little bit more about the combat system in the game. In my original first impressions, I did talk about it briefly, explaining the different combos, the weapon abilities, the skills and things like that. But for this video specifically, we are going to be running through the Tornsail Island Dungeon and showing off more combat. Now this will be my first time running through this dungeon, so I don't know exactly how it's going to pan out or how difficult it's going to be. But before we actually do that, I want to tell you guys about the talent system. Now the talent system is unlocked once you get to, I believe, around level 20, it gets unlocked, but you have to get to a certain stage within the main quest line. So over here, if you go to the skill system for the talents, basically what the talent system is in this game is it unlocks a secondary skill list for you and a secondary weapon. So the original weapon I started off with was the longbow. Now once I beat the main quest line up to the point where it unlocks the talent system, it allowed me to then be able to activate my crossbow talent. So it kind of is a dual class, sort of dual weapon system where you can switch between the two different weapons depending on the different situations. Now my longbow is specifically targeted towards like freezing abilities, cold damage, slowing down enemies, freezing them, some small area of effect damage, and then there's even an ability where if I hold it down for a long period of time, any enemies within front of me will take significant amount of damage. However, I found that this skill ability actually works more closely for taking on larger bosses rather than taking on a large group of enemies. Now my crossbow actually focuses on fire damage and miasma damage. With this ability, however, I find that it's really useful to clear out waves of enemies and for a lot of these dungeons. And so I'm going to go ahead and actually going to be using the crossbow for this dungeon. And it's got a strong emphasis on crit damage. Now, if I remember right, the first ability is called Solar Gift. Summons a solar sphere that follows you around, kind of circles you. And then all damage dealt by the ranger within the duration of this ability shall be recorded and unleashed back to the enemies when the effect expires. So you activate it, then you try to do as much damage as you possibly can, and then basically once the ability wears off, you'll then basically call down a fire pillar upon your enemy and wreck the enemy, whatever the single target enemy that you were dealing. And then I had another ability where my character kind of spun around, firing arrows all over the place, dealing significant amount of damage to the enemies around me. And then I had another ability where I could dodge, but then it also like increases my overall crit chance. So it looks like I'm able to get into the Tornsail Island Dungeon. I found a group that actually just invited me, and I find that a lot of the players in this game are pretty active when the dungeon system comes into play. Now, you are going to find a lot of people running through these dungeons multiple times, even some of the earlier dungeons in the game. In fact, I am going to go back and do a video on one of the other dungeons instead to showcase one of the biggest hyped versions of the dungeon and one of the things that makes the dungeon worth going through and playing over multiple times, because there are a lot of people that run through these dungeons to level up really fast. In fact, the dungeon that you unlock at level 20 really oh, I don't want to go in there. Can we go inside this dungeon? Can we challenge this dungeon? Let's go ahead and start this dungeon already. I think we've got enough people. Let's check out the team. We have 4 people. Let's do this. I'm going to cancel following. I don't actually follow the leader. Let's do this. I think she's jumping in. Let's challenge. We'll wait till the leader actually challenges so I can talk a little bit more about what I was saying. So when it comes to the dungeons in this game, you'll find a lot of people actually jump in and play the dungeon multiple times because it's actually a really great way to level up. And it's a pretty fun challenge. They have a lot of little achievements attached to the dungeon itself that make it worthwhile to run through multiple times, like including getting boss materials and stuff like that for later crafting. So I'm hoping we'll be able to jump into this dungeon fairly quickly and actually have some fun if our leader will actually start the dungeon itself. So I'm going to go ahead and actually cut away until we actually get into the dungeon. So give us just a few minutes. Okay, so it only took a few seconds before we actually got into the dungeon, so here we are. I'm going to turn on auto combat. Now, there is auto combat. It actually took me a while to realize that auto combat was even in this game. Oh, I don't even know what we're doing. We're taking on this guy called the Miser. Roll. Activate my fireball. do as much damage as I possibly can. Spin around. So I'm going to try my best to comment on exactly what I'm trying to do. But you can see, like, there's a lot of stuff that's happening on the screen right now. And I just leveled up level 38. I might even level up maybe 2 times during this dungeon. So I'm using my crossbows. I'm dodging. I'm activating my first ability, which basically creates that orb that as much damage as I can will be dealt back to my enemy once I've completed a certain area. This is all new. This is actually on a new... I don't even know where I'm at. Like, I've never been... This is my first time running through this, so I may have to come up with another video where I showcase this a little bit better in a like maybe like a guide or something. There are beginning dungeons, and then there's the hard mode dungeons, the elite dungeons, and they've got like world first versions of those. Like, apparently they're supposed to be pretty dang hard. So right now we're running through the common version of the dungeon. We are just taking out Dobby the blacksmith. Now, this is on the second large area of the world once you get into this dungeon. I believe this is the 3rd dungeon you actually play through. We've got Cousin Jalulu. His story, by the way, once you get to the 2nd island, the story is actually really, really interesting. So it looks like we've got a boss. We're going to take this boss on. I'm going to activate this ability. I'm going to dodge out of the way, and then I'm going to just spin using my crossbow attack, trying to get as much damage as I possibly can on the enemy, and that's my fire pillar that you just saw fall down right there. This is called the King Parrot. I don't know how to dodge this effect. Looks like he sends out miasma bolts. Oh, he sends out even... Oh, wow, that was crazy. I didn't think he was going to send out different elemental types like that. That was cool. You can see the different damages up on the top right. Now, a lot of these dungeons, and specifically for the Terror Wing dungeon, which I'm going to show you maybe in a later video, that dungeon, there's a lot of higher level players that run through and will actually take lower level players through it for you. If people are trying to clear it, so that's actually really, really nice because they're also getting different rewards too for running through that dungeon. I'm gonna run back. Oh, I was gonna try to clear. Let's back up. Oh, dang it, I still got frozen. King Parrot has found a banana. I don't know what that means. There are different boss mechanics for a lot of these different bosses. Like the one for the Terror Wing is really interesting. You can actually stun the boss by throwing like a boulder at him. So I don't know what the mechanic is behind this one. It looks like he actually heals himself if he eats the banana. So we got to make sure that he doesn't eat these bananas. I don't know how to take these bananas down. That's kind of a weird saying, but it's cool. You know, different interesting boss mechanics. We've actually got higher level players helping us, so this is going to be a little bit of an easier boss fight. And there we go. I leveled up twice by running through the Tornsail Island Dungeon, defeating the King Parrot. Let's go ahead and grab our treasure. I don't think we're going to get anything super good. Ooh, we got Tornsail Bracers. Increase our overall stats. And then there's some things we can kind of move around and check out. That was actually a really quick run through of this dungeon. You can see my team is probably going to leave. I'm going to actually move around so you guys can see what the dungeon looks like. That was actually a pretty fun boss battle. I should have switched over to my secondary bar where I've got a lot of my healing potions and stuff set up right now. But this is a pretty interesting looking boss area to check out. It's definitely different from the other areas, and you can actually go down multiple paths. I've never seen that before in the other dungeons that they have in this game already, but that was a fairly interesting boss fight, and I actually had a lot of fun running through that. Now, once you've completed a boss, you can actually just leave the dungeon. I'm on the main quest line right now to complete this, so that's my first run through of this dungeon. But let's see, let's actually switch over, go to my camera, and so you guys can actually take a look at. Oh, I've got my character hidden. Let's bring my character out real quick, so you guys can actually see kind of what the area looks like, because it's really cool. I like the look. There's a new area on the map that I just got to that looks really awesome, but it's a very small area. So let's go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and leave this dungeon. Yes, go ahead and hit confirm. So we just left the dungeon. That was the quick run through of the Tornsail dungeon. Now I actually let me go ahead and show you what I mean by the achievement system in this game. Let's go to the Tornsail Island dungeon. This is the one I just completed. So it says you complete the Tornsail Island common. So I got that. I got the title Pirate Crusher. And then it says Tornsail Sweeper. Complete the Tornsail Island within 250 seconds. Then you've got complete the Tornsail Island 5 times. On the common difficulty, defeat King Parrot without eating any bananas. So you'll actually see a lot of players run through and like try to complete this multiple times. Like I said, there's a lot of high level players that kind of come back through and do this to complete these achievements. There's also on common difficulty, complete the dungeon without killing any peons. On the common difficulty, complete the dungeon after polluting the water on the island and weakening the pirates' weapons. And then you got to complete the Tornsail Island Elite. Complete Tornsail Island Elite 5 times. Complete the Tornsail Island Elite in 300 seconds. Now this is the big one at the very bottom. Take first server clear of Tornsail Island Elite. I'm going to try to hit for that. Maybe when the game officially launches, we could start like a guild or something and jump in and play. But I can tell you right now, that's going to be a pretty hard one, and only certain people are going to be able to get that. So that's a pretty cool thing that they add those little achievements on top of it. So I do like the fact that these little achievements, you can get achievement points towards your overall achievement score. And you also get some basic coins and stuff like that. But you can also get a special title, the Tornsail King, and only specific people are going to have that. So there you guys go. That's a little bit of a deeper look at the combat system in the game, as well as one of the dungeons. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and to stay up to tune to the latest in mobile gaming. If you guys want to see more gameplay footage for this game, let me know down below in the comments. If you guys are planning on playing the game when it officially launches in a few days, let me know. I don't want to duel. I'm getting very angry. Let's go ahead and dance and end the video. So thank you guys so much. My name is Koolio, and I'll see you next time.